Hello guys, welcome to this tutorial. Today we're going to be looking into JavaScript's array function, and we're going to be studying the forEach function today. So first of all, what is the forEach function? The forEach function is used to iterate over the element of an array. The array can contain any value. It can be an array of string, array of number, of objects. It is commonly used method for performing operations on each element of an array without the need to explicitly loop constructs like for or while loop. Without the need for explicit loop constructs like for or while loop. So basically what we're saying is that the forEach function actually iterate over an array, and then you can perform an operation on it. But one thing you must understand is that the forEach does not duplicate, it doesn't create a new array, and it does not modify the original array. So you can't modify the original array or create a new array from forEach. Instead, you can just decide to assign the new values to a new array that you created separately or manually by yourself. So this is one of the things you must keep at the back of your mind. Unlike the map method where it creates a new array for you, the forEach does not create a new array for you. So let's get into it. How do you work with the forEach? Let's imagine we have an array of numbers, and then we want to look through this array and probably log them out. We can have something like this, and then we can decide to log it out. So if I save this, and I have an HTML here where I've already attached the JavaScript file, I'm going to run this in the browser with the live server. In this browser here with the live server. So let's open with live server. So this is up. Let's take a look at the console. You can see it's logging it right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I want to have a multiplication of 2 there, I can now say let final array be equals to an empty array, and then I can say final array dot push. Instead of saying index there, I'll say item times 2, item times 2, item times 2, and then here I will log the final array. So you can see now I have the array that contains the array that each item was multiplied by 2. You can see it there. So that's basically what the forEach method is. Then let's take a closer look at this forEach method. We want to look at the syntax. Looking at the syntax, you'll notice that we have the number we'll call the array, and then dot forEach, and then in a open and close bracket we pass in a function which is called a callback function. So this function we can choose to separate it, bring it out separately. So I'm just going to comment. Okay, let's just imagine pull this out of here. I'm gonna pull the function. out, and we have it somewhere here. And name this function print. So I can just pass in print here. It's still the same thing. You can see still the same thing. Still the same thing we are having there. Okay, this seems to be a different error. So basically, it's still the same thing. This forEach can also receive another parameter aside from the callback function, and that is a reference to this. So I can pass this into the function here, and let's imagine I add a name to this here. This dot name is equals to John. I can now choose to log this dot name item index. So if I do this, you will see here John Smith. You can see. So we can pass a reference to this object as a second argument to this here. And then for this function, there are 3 parameters that can be passed in. This is the current item, the index, and we can also pass the array, which is array. And we can choose to log the array. Let me show you the array console. Let's log. So you always have a reference to the original array. I can just say array and save that. You can see the array here is being logged out. So that's basically it. So that's basically it. So when should you use forEach? Well, you should use a forEach when you don't need to create a new array from the original array. And you can also use it when probably you need to perform some operation where you need to also you might need a reference to this object. So you can use it in that case. And then there are some laws you need to understand. There are some things you need to understand about forEach. So the forEach method. So there are some things you need to remember about the forEach. One is there is no way to stop or break out of forEach loop. So I'm just going to write it out here so that things to remember when using number one. Okay, this has been suggested to us. So forEach always expects a synchronous function, which means that it cannot accept. It will treat an asynchronous function like a synchronous function. So if you are calling a synchronous function inside of a forEach, maybe inside of this function now, and I wanted to call a function. Maybe I can say process data, and I pass in the index here or item, and this is a asynchronous. So I want to await it. The forEach cannot it will not wait for this to complete. It will treat it as a synchronous. So it expects a synchronous function. And then the second one I want to talk about is that you can't break out of the loop. We've talked about this. For each does not return anything. Then you can't break out of the loop. You can't break out of a for each loop. So basically you can't break out of a for each loop. And calling the for each function on an empty array will throw an error. So then the callback function is not invoked for missing values. So if there's a missing value in an array, it won't call the callback function for those items. For example, I can have a missing item again here, which is a missing item, and save that. So you can see that it omitted the missing item. It didn't throw an error, it just omitted it. So these are the things you need to put at the back of your mind whenever you are working with same thing we are saying skips over missing values. So that is that about that. See you some other time. Bye.